Do you know these 10 common mistakes native speakers make in English? If you learn them, you can improve your English comprehension and speaking skills by being able to spot and understand them, as well as not make these mistakes yourself. Hey English learners, and welcome to Learn to Decode English. Today, we are going to talk about 10 common mistakes native speakers make when speaking English. Before we get started, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel because it helps us keep making videos and lets us know what kind of videos you like so we can make more of those. Let's get started. The first mistake is good versus well. Instead of answering how did you do on the test with I did good, you should say I did well. Many Americans use these words incorrectly every day, both in business and casual conversations. Don't make this mistake. Good is an adjective. Well is an adverb. When answering the question how, you need to say well. Good, on the other hand, is used to describe nouns. It answers the question, what kind? For example, what kind of score did you get? You could say, I got a good score. The next error is subject-verb agreement. Avoid saying neither of these answers are correct. Instead, it's better to say neither of these answers is correct. This is a very common mistake Americans make. It can be challenging to keep track of the real subject of the sentence when speaking, even for natives. The true subject of this sentence is the word neither, which is always singular. But if not paid attention to closely, the word answers may look like the subject. There are many different kinds of sentences this applies to. For example, the box of old photos and clothing were in the attic. This sentence is incorrect, but many Americans may not know why. The correct version of the sentence is the box of old photos and the clothing was in the attic. The true subject of this sentence is the box, not the photos and clothing. Beware of this mistake because it is very easy to make. The next mistake is redundant prepositions. Avoid where are you at? This is casual but not standard English. Instead, it would be better to say where are you? This is something American speakers often do, but it's not considered grammatically correct. The extra preposition is not necessary at all. This is a very common mistake Americans make in everyday speech, and I recommend avoiding it. The next mistake is leaving out helping verbs in questions or negatives. Instead of saying, you going to the party, it's more correct to say, are you going to the party? Some common helping verbs in English are to be, to do, and to have. American speakers often leave off these verbs in questions in casual conversation, which can make fast speech harder to understand. For example, instead of saying, do you like it, we might say, you like it? But this is very informal and should be avoided in formal English. The next mistake involves the subjunctive mood. Instead of saying, I wish it was Friday already, it's more correct to say, I wish it were Friday already. Saying, I wish it was Friday already is grammatically incorrect, but many Americans would say the sentence that way. And saying, I wish it were Friday might even sound incorrect to them, but it isn't. If you want to speak American English properly, always use were for every subject in the subjunctive mood. Don't say, if I was taller, I'd play basketball. Instead, say, if I were taller, I'd play basketball. This can help you sound professional and like you have a good command of the English language. The next mistake is overusing literally. Overuse of literally to mean figuratively is frowned upon. The correct use is, I literally ran 5 miles. In recent years, younger American generations have begun overusing the word literally. The word is supposed to mean actually, meaning without exaggeration or inaccuracy. However, younger generations now add it to many of their sentences for the purpose of exaggeration and emphasis, but it is most often viewed as an annoying habit and an unnecessary exaggeration, so it is best to avoid. The next mistake is mixing up less and fewer. Avoid saying there are less people than there were before, and instead say, there are fewer people here than there were before. Use fewer with countable nouns and less with uncountable nouns. This is a mistake Americans make all the time. We often use these words interchangeably, when in reality, there is a difference between them. Less should be used for uncountable nouns, like there is less water in this glass than in that one. And fewer should be used for countable nouns, like I have fewer pens and pencils. This mistake is so common in English that few native speakers will probably notice. The next mistake is ending sentences with prepositions in formal writing. While common in speech, in formal writing, ending with prepositions is often avoided. It is less formal to write, who were you talking to? The more formal and correct version in writing would be, to whom are you talking? In speech, I would recommend you end sentences with prepositions to sound like a native speaker. If you speak the more formal way, Americans will probably think it sounds strange. In formal writing though, for example in essays and documents, it is often recommended that you don't end a sentence with a preposition. The next mistake native speakers make is incorrect usage of reflexive pronouns. Avoid saying, please contact John or myself. Instead, you should say, please contact John or me. I often hear American speakers make this mistake. Grammatically, you are not supposed to use a reflexive pronoun unless you are doing an action to yourself or that affects yourself. For example, he taught himself programming. But native speakers make this mistake quite frequently. Using reflexive pronouns like this won't make you sound more like a native speaker and is grammatically incorrect, so I recommend avoiding it. The next mistake is subjective versus objective pronouns. Me versus I. Saying, for example, me and Joe went to the movies, or let's keep this between you and I, is incorrect. Don't do this. Many native speakers do this though. It should instead be, Joe and I went to the movies, or let's keep this between you and me. Using me as a subject or I as an object is incorrect and shouldn't be done. Trust me, your English will sound better if you don't make this mistake. If you're confused about subjective versus objective pronouns, let us know in the comments and we'll make a video about it. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel before you go. Let me know in the comments what you think and if you have any questions about this topic. And if you'd like to keep learning, check out this video next. Thanks for watching. Until next time, always keep learning. Bye!